Hi, welcome to day 6 of our 30 days Python series. Today we're going to learn conditional statement in Python. So we will learn what is if statement, we will learn what is if else statement, and we're also going to see how to use multiple if statement, which we call elif. And we're also going to learn about nested if statement. That means inside if statement there is another if statement. And then we're going to see ternary operators in Python. And at then we're going to do two mini project where we will apply all our learning. So let's first start with the if statement. Let's see what is if statement in Python. So I'm going to add a code cell here and I'm just going to say maybe a number variable which is called num, and I'm going to store 0 here. So if you want to see, it's 0, right? So now this num variable is holding 0. Now let's see the if statement. Okay, so I'm going to say if num is greater than 0. Okay, now I'm saying if number is greater than 0, so every if statement must be closed using this colon sign. Okay, so after this condition, so usually you write it like this way. Okay, if you want to see, so you write it like this way: if, then you put your condition. Okay, and then once you give your conditions, whatever the logic you want to check, you need to end the conditions using something like this colon sign. Okay, you can give it, you can keep space as well, that is fine, but you need to give your statement. Okay, after the statement ends, you need to give a colon sign like this. Once you give the colon sign, now by default, if I just hit enter, you see by default it is keeping one indentations to this side, right? That is means whatever the statement I am going to write, that will fall into this if statement. Okay, so that is the reason. That means here I need to keep one indentations. Okay, one indentations here, because otherwise that is not going to consider inside this if statement. Okay, so this is what it does. Now in the conditions, you can put any conditions. Let's say you can say there's an age variable, and inside the age you are saying the age is 25, and you're saying if the age is more than 20, then I want to call it adult. If the age is less than 20, I want to call it child. So that is one of the conditions, right? The condition has to be valid. If the condition is not valid, let's say what will happen. Okay, so here I'm saying is that see, the condition can be true or condition can be false. Okay, so I'm saying number equals 0. Let me just comment out this. Okay, I'm saying number equals 0, and here I'm checking if number has greater than 0. Okay, if the number is greater than 0, now here I'm just printing that print, okay, number is greater than 0. Okay, something like this. Let me just execute it. You see, nothing is happening here. Why? Okay, so the way you understand if condition is that if the condition is true, it is going to do something. It is going to run line of code. Now you can put multiple code here. All the condition must be started from the one indentation. That means inside this if block. Okay, so here saying condition, if the condition, this condition is true, then only this thing will happen. Now if this condition is not true, see, every conditions will have two objective. One is either it is true or either it is false, right? Let's say I'm from India. Now if I say that if my country is equals to India, then it is going to be true. If I am from India, if I am not from India, it's not going to be true, right? So every conditions will have a two output. One is true, one is false. So same way we are saying that we're storing in the number, we're storing 0. So obviously number is not greater than 0. We can say greater than equals to 0, then it is going to be true. Okay, so here we are saying number is greater than 0. If that is true, then print this, which is called print number is greater than 0. And if that is false, so nothing will happen. Why? Because this code, that whatever we have inside this if logic, that will be only executed only if this condition is true. If the condition is not true, it's not going to be executed. It is just going to ignore and the code will end. Okay, now let's say I'm going to say greater than equals to 0, because I know that this number starts from 0. So I'm going to say greater than equals to 0. Let's see. Now you see that number is greater than 0. Okay, so whatever the message I write here, that is going to be executed. You see I'm writing X. Okay, so that is one example. Let me give one more example, maybe age. Okay, let's say my age is 27 and I'm going to say if, and see here, as soon as I give if, I need to give my condition here, right? Here I usually give the condition and I give this colon, and then I go to next line. Okay, in the next line I need to put my result, whatever the result or whatever the code I want to execute, that is inside this if block. Okay, so here usually I put my code, that's going to be whatever the code, so all my code here. Okay, all the code that I want to execute if this condition is true, that I want to be here. Okay, so let's say I'm saying if age, I would say that age is greater than 27, greater than 20, greater than, so any conditions I can say that if the age is more than 20. Okay, if the age is more than 20, I want to call it here that, so I want to print I am adult and my age is age is, and my age is, and I can just give my age, and I can just use a formatting. So it is going to give me that I am adult and my age is 27, whatever the age. Okay, so I'm just using a formatting. Now if you have not gone through the day 1, day 2 and day 3 video, I would request you to go through day 1, day 2 and day 3 video, because all these fundamentals I have covered in this last 3 or 5 days. So make sure to go through those video if you have not gone through it. Now I can execute it. You see that it is getting executed because my age is more than 27, right? More than 20, you can see it here, right? It's 27. So what will happen if I say that my age is, let's say, 18? Okay, you see it is not executing, first of all, because if this condition is true, then only whatever I have inside this if logic is going to be executed. Okay, now I'm going to again say that okay, my age is 27, fine, and I will put this if conditions outside. Okay, so let me just bring it outside. So as soon as I put it outside, obviously I'm going to get an error, because inside this if logic I need to put something. Okay, whatever I want to execute it, I cannot leave it empty, because if I leave it empty, it's going to give me an error. So let's, even if I delete it, okay, see, incomplete input, because if I am giving a conditions, so that means in this conditions, when the condition is true, I need to give something. Okay, something here I need to give to execute it. If I don't give it, I will be getting error. Okay, now I am giving this, which is called print, and I am adult ages, this. So now this is not happening. Why? Even my age is greater than 20, which is 27, you can see it here, still I'm getting error. So why I'm getting error, you can see the error here is that expected and indented a block after if. Okay, so here it is expecting some block, okay, which I have not given, and it's saying that line 3. So when you talk about line 3, that means in this line it is giving the error, because you see this logic that I want to print, this code that I want to print, whatever it is, it must be inside this if statement. So I can just put one tab. Now I don't get any error, because now it is inside this if conditions. Okay, so let's run it again. Now you can see, yes, it is printing it. So let's check with one more example. I'm going to say today, and I'm going to say today is what today is, let's say, Monday. Okay, and I want to check, okay, if, and I would say if today, because see, my condition must make some sense. Okay, I can say if today. Now today double equals, right, because I am checking here if this today has this Monday. If I give it one equal, that means assigning an operator. So in if you cannot assign it, so double equal sign, that means I am comparing if this today, okay, if this today has what, Tuesday, okay. So if this today is Tuesday, then what I want something called print today is Tuesday. Okay, so obviously this condition is not true, because today, if you see inside this today, we have stored Monday, so it's not going to be executed. But if I just use this Monday here, okay, you see it is executed, but it is printing Tuesday, because in the message I am displaying whatever I want, right? I can display maybe today is Monday, today is Tuesday, whatever I want. I can display anything here that has nothing to do with the outside. So only this will be printed, only this outside block is true. If this outside condition is true, then it is going to be printed. Okay, now this is about if statement. So we will have two things, right? When the condition is true, then we want to execute this code, whatever the code, we will enter this if statement. Now there is something called else. Okay, so we will see now that. So let's go ahead and say let's start with if else. Okay, so same example I will see, let's say this one. Okay, same example I'm going to see here. Let's say age is 27. Okay, I am giving my age. Okay, I would just give it call my age, new variable, and I'm saying if my age is greater than 20, and then I want it to be printed like this message. Okay, but here what I want, okay, if in case it is not greater than 20, see, there could be two outcomes. As I said, my age is either going to be more than 20 or less than 20. If it's less than 20, then what I want. So for that, what you need to do is that you need to just press enter and come out of this if block. So just go here in the starting of the line of the code, and you can write something called else. Okay, now what we are saying, okay, if this conditions, whatever the conditions I am entering, I want this to be printed if this condition is true. If that condition is false, then you can just give else, and inside this else you can print whatever you want. You can execute any code as well. Okay, so here I can go ahead and say print my age is not greater than 20. Okay, simple. So let's test it. You see, I am adult, my age is which is 27. Okay, now I can simply go ahead and check with 19. See, if I am giving 19, this code is getting executed. This line of code is getting executed. It says my age is not greater than 20. Okay. Now, if I am just giving 21, you see this above code is getting executed. So what is happening here in the if statement? You are giving a conditions, and if this condition is true, whatever the code you have defined, which is inside this if logic, now all must be inside this if logic. You can put multiple code here. I can just put something like that print, okay, I am adult. Okay, I can print my age is more than 25. I can print anything I want to print. I can print it here. Okay, I can print xxxx. Okay, so this all things is going to execute it if my age is more than 20, because the logic I am checking which is here, right? So you can see it here, adult, and all these things are executing. Okay, but if I change it to maybe 17, you can see that this line of code is getting executed. So very basic, very simple is that if you give if, along with the if, you need to give a conditions. Now the condition can be any conditions that you want to check. If you're working with the pandas data set, it can be checked. You can check some values, some column, anything. Okay, you want to check. Okay, now if you have a variables, you want to check the variables, you can put it that here as well. Okay, so now if and else. So if the condition is true, all these things get executed, else all these things get executed. Now after else, you don't have to give the conditions. Okay, because one conditions you have already defined, and if the condition is true, this is getting printed. If the condition is false, you want to get something to be executed, that time this else block is getting executed. So we only have two block here. Okay, let's see some more example. Let's say I'm saying weather is now, temperature is now 43. Okay, 44. So I want to print if logic. Based on the if logic, based on the temperature, it is going to return us like today is a hot, or today is cold, or today is a good weather. Okay, so if it is we will define something like this. So we'll say if temp is greater than, let's say, 30. Okay, then we would say what I want is that print it's hot. So we will go ahead and start with something like this. It's hot outside. We can also print like print don't go outside. Okay, the temperature is greater than 30. I want these two things to be executed. Okay, now that is fine. I want something else, right? So else must be outside this if logic. Okay, so that means the else must be outside. So else must be here. So we can go ahead and say else, and the else must also end with semicolon. Okay, otherwise you will be getting error. So here we want to execute something. If in case not it the weather is not greater than 30, what do you want to execute? So here we can say that outside weather is cold, or maybe good. Okay, we can go ahead and say we can go outside. Okay, so let's test it. You can say it's not hot outside, don't go outside. Okay, so it's hot outside, don't go outside. So this is getting executed because I kept this temperature 44 at the moment, and basically this condition is getting true, right? This condition is getting true. That's the reason this two line of code is getting executed. These are not getting executed. If I just say it something like maybe 29, okay, you see this is getting executed, the second code, which is else block. So we are saying outside weather is good, we can go outside. Okay, so this is fine. Now you can also perform any operations using this code, because here whatever you want to perform, you can perform. Now I can just go ahead and show you something else as well. Let's say I would say that okay, password, and I can go ahead and say something maybe ABC123. Okay, so I can go ahead and say if password equals to what, equals to this. Okay, then what I want, something like print login success. Okay, I'm getting error here. Why? Because if you just click here, see it is expecting this a column, so I have not defined the column. That's the reason I'm getting error. Now this is fine, and you see also this line of code is inside this if conditions. Okay, otherwise we can print something like this. Else what I want, I would say that print please try again incorrect password. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute it now. Okay, login success because I have given the correct password. Now if I just want to take this from the user, I can delete it and I can use the input parameters, and I would just go ahead and say please enter your password. Okay, so it's going to ask a prompt. You can see it is asking a prompt, so please enter your password. Let me just try with something else. You see please try again incorrect password. Okay, we can execute it again, try again. You see still please try again incorrect password. Okay, now I would this time I would enter the correct password, which is abc123. okay, you see login success because I have given the right password. Okay, so this type of the different operations you can perform using if logic. Okay, now let's see some more operations. So we will see last one more operation within this if and else logic. So I would just go ahead and say here, if in case this password is correct, I want to perform something. Okay, so I can go ahead and say that x equals 2 plus 5. Okay, randomly I'm just saying something, and I would say print of x. Okay, let's see abc 123. Okay, you see it has printed this number also, right? So whatever you define in this if block, everything is going to be executed here. You see I'm saying that x is equal to 2 plus 5, and it is executing that because this condition is true. First it check the password. If the password is fine, then it get printed this, right? So this is how it is working. Now let's see what is elif then. Okay, so we will go ahead and now see elif. So here I'm going to say elif. Okay, so in elif we want to check more than one conditions. Okay, we have more than one conditions, so that's where we can define this elif. Using elif you can give multiple conditions and then else conditions. Okay, so this like this way. So if you can only give one conditions, right? Let's start with the same, like maybe something called, so salary is let's say 25,000. Okay, and we will go ahead and use if salary is greater than let's say 18,000. Okay, so what I want, I usually give it here, right? See I'm closing this using a colon because this is the if conditions, and I would say that print salary is good. Okay, and we can just run it. It's going to say salary is good. Okay, fine. Now what else we want? Let's say if the salary is at the moment salary is more than 18,000, but if I just give it the salary is like let's say only 11,000. Okay, you see nothing is getting executed because I did not define this else block. So let's add an else block here. Okay, now we would say else, and here I'm going to say that salary is low. Okay, so let's execute. So we will say that if the salary is greater than 18,000, fine. Now I would just need to define print here because I'm printing a statement. Okay, you can see salary is extremely low. Okay, so this is fine. Now what I want, I would define some more conditions here. Okay, so I would first say that salary is good. So this one I'm just going to say extremely good. Okay, now here I would say if the salary is more than 30,000. Okay, if the salary is more than 30,000, I would say salary is extremely good. Okay, that's one conditions. And otherwise if the salary is not more than 30,000, so it's extremely low. We can say salary is extremely low. Okay, fine. Now let's say I want to add some more conditions. Let's say if the salary is let's say something else, I want to print it something else here. Okay, so what I can say that L if. Okay, now using elif I can give one more condition here. I can go ahead and say if this salary, okay, is maybe greater than, here I would want to say that if the salary is greater than 20,000. Okay, if the salary is greater than 25,000, let's say 25,000. Okay, then what I want, I would just go ahead and say that here, okay, salary is okay. Okay, salary is okay. So now this condition is not true obviously because the salary is not more than this 11 this 30,000. Okay, this condition is also not true, so it's not more than 25,000, but obviously there is no other option, so we will be executing this. Python is going to execute this else block. Now here the same thing is happening. This condition is not true. This is my first condition. This is also not true. Okay, so this is getting executed. So what if I just give the salary as 26,000, 26,500? Okay, you see this line of code is getting executed. So what is actually happening here is that I am giving multiple if conditions. So this is my one if conditions, this is my second if conditions. Okay, though I'm not mentioning like if, so I am saying if this is a true, then I want this code to be executed. Then I'm saying else if, that means else if. So you're giving one more if conditions. Okay, very simple way to remember it, that if condition is true, if you have only single one if, you can just say if and else. If you have more than one if, then you can give it like elif elif elif. Okay, let's add some more elif conditions here. Now next what I want, let's say even, let me just go ahead and say that here is that this where I would just give it 50,000. Okay, and here I'm going to say maybe 35,000. Okay, so salary is not bad. Okay, not bad. So let's add one more. So you can add as many as elif you want. Okay, so you can go ahead and say elif. So again same thing, elif means it's kind of if, so we need to give the conditions. What is the conditions you want to give? So we want to say give salary, and we would say if the salary is greater than let's say 20,000. Okay, and we would want to print something called salary is okay, salary is okay. So this is fine. Now what will happen, because salary is 26,000, so it is going to obviously fall this more than 20,000. Okay, it's not more than 35,000, not more than 50,000. Let's execute it. Salary is okay. So this is what elif function does. So that means you can define more than one condition here, and if none of these conditions is true, then you can define else conditions where this else is going to be printed. If you ignore this else conditions, that is also fine. So this is not going to print anything if none of this condition is true. So I would just define it like say triple one, and you see none of the condition is true, so I have not defined this else condition, so nothing is getting executed. You don't see it, but Python has checked all these three conditions. Okay, so this is how we use elif functions. Okay, now again as I said that you can execute any code inside this all these if conditions. If that is true, all this code line of code is going to get executed. Okay, so that's it about this elif conditions. Now let's see what is nested if conditions. So we will go ahead and kind of define one more variables. Okay, here I'm going to say nested if condition. Okay, so I would say that if here I give the conditions, right? Here I give the conditions, whatever I want to print, I give my statement here. Okay, now I give my else condition here, else whatever I want to get executed here in this f, I put it here, right? So let's see what is nested if condition. So before that, let me just define a variable called again something called number. Okay, and here I'm defining a number called 3. Okay, not 3 but maybe something like 11. Okay, so I will define a variable here. Now I will define a conditions here to check if this number is even or odd. Okay, so the way we can check is that we can go ahead and say this number and modulus. Okay, modulus by 2. Okay, so and I'm going to say equals to 0. Okay, now if you do not know what is this modulus does, this I have covered in the day 2. So we can divide anything, like we can go ahead and say 11 modulus of 2 remainder, we get it here, right? So it's kind of saying that 11 divided by 2, and whatever the remainder is left out, you get it here. So usually if you divide any number that is by 2, the remainder is going to be what? Either it's going to be 0 or either it's going to be 1. Okay, so if this remainder you already know, right? What is remainder? So if I divide by 11 by 2, so it's going to be 5.5, right? So that means my remainder is going to be 1. Okay, so if I divide 11, that is a odd number. So if any odd number I divide by 2, the remainder is always going to be 1. If I divide an even number, maybe 10, so the remainder is always going to be 0. Okay, so I can just go ahead and say 10 by 2. You see, remainder is going to be 0. Now this is the result, but the remainder is going to be 0, right? So same thing we are using, which is called modulus here, and that leave a reminder, and we check the reminder here. Okay, so we are saying this number equals to 11. In the number I have 11, which is an even number, which is an odd number, and I'm saying this number, if I divide it by 2, what is my reminder? Is this reminder is going to be 0? If that is true, then I want to print it something, right? So I can go ahead and here is that say print, and I can go ahead and say number is even. Okay, so here I can go ahead and say number is odd. If I execute it, you see number is odd. It's showing number is odd because I have 11. If I just check with 13, I still have odd. If I check it with 12, it's even. Okay, because wherever this condition is true, it's going to execute this. If the condition is not true, it's going to execute this. Okay, now let's make it a little complicated. Okay, so here I want to do something else. Okay, so if this condition is true, then I want to print something else here. So what I want is that I want one more if condition here. Okay, because we're learning nested if, that means inside one if logic we will be adding another if conditions, which will again have else, if and else logic, because if condition can have else logic as well, or you can just leave that else as well if you don't want to show anything. Okay, so we can go ahead and say if this whatever the number, we can go ahead and say if this number is greater than 0. Now here I am going to say if number, which is this number is greater than 0, then what I want here is that I would say print, this print I would put it here. Okay, inside this if statement, right, that says print number. Now I can go ahead and say this number is, see, anyways all the number will fall in this group only if this number is what, only if this number is an even number. So I would say even number. Okay, I would say number is a positive even number. Okay, so that is fine. Now here I can add a else logic as well. Also I can go ahead and say else. Okay, and I can print one more message in the else logic. I can go ahead and say that okay, number is negative. Okay, negative even number. Okay, that's fine. I would just need to comment it out. So what is happening, I'm saying if this number, that where I'm storing 12, and I'm saying if this number modulus of 2 and remainder is 0, if this is true, obviously it is the even number, so all this code is going to be executed. Now here I am saying that okay, if number is greater than 0, so I am checking one more conditions here. I'm checking if this number is positive or negative. Then I'm saying print number is even number. Okay, and then I'm saying else print the number is a negative even number. So we can go ahead and check both the conditions. Let's say I define something called minus 12. Okay, you see it's saying number is a negative even number. Why? Because as soon as you put a minus 12 here, okay, it's going to check if the number is dividing by 2, it's 0. Yes, remainder is 0 here because it's an even number, you can see it here, but it has a minus, right? So then this code is going to be executed. Why? Because this is the even number, right? So here I'm putting an if logic, and I'm saying if this number is greater than 0, obviously it's not greater than 0, so that means this code is not going to be executed. So it is automatically going to execute this code, which is called the else logic, because this condition is not true. This is true, but this condition is not true. So okay, this is fine. Now that is how it's working. So here in the else logic, again I can give the same thing like positive odd number, negative odd number. Okay, but this is called nested if. I can even give more if conditions here. Okay, I can even go ahead and define one more if conditions here. Okay, so what I want maybe something like this. Okay, if I would go ahead and say if this number is greater than 10,000. Okay, and I would say whatever I want to print, I would say print it's a big number. Okay, so anything, okay, just randomly I just pick something. Okay, so that means there I can add a else logic as well. Also else I can go ahead and say okay, print number is small positive even number. Okay, so here also it's a big positive even number, big positive even number. Okay, so let's understand what is happening here. I'm saying if this number, which is minus 12 I have here at the moment, I'm saying if this number is modulus of 2, the remainder is 0, that means it's an even number. Now that is fine, all this code is going to be executed, okay, whatever I have inside this if, whatever I have inside this if conditions. So here I'm giving one more if conditions. I'm going to say if this number is greater than 0, I'm just checking it's a positive or negative. So this if conditions, I'm checking this if condition has a one else condition. So if it is a positive, it is automatically going to execute this code, otherwise it's going to execute this code, okay. Now if it is a positive, okay, let's change it to positive, so it is going to then execute this code, okay. So I can keep it or I can again ignore it. So let's say for now I'm just going to keep it. So see, this is one line of code, this is second line of code, right? Then it is going to check one more condition. If the number is more than 10,000, okay, then we can say print it's a big positive even number, and we can go ahead and say if this is not more than 10,000, this number is a small positive even number, okay. Now let's go ahead and check it. So I would just go ahead and say with a 12, let's see what we get. So it says number is positive even number if small positive even numbers. Instead of if, it should be is. That's small typo, and it's a, yeah, you see number is a small positive even number, okay, because this is getting executed. So first this condition is true, so all this code are being ignored, and this is getting executed. So in this code I have like this print statement which I am not printing, and I'm just letting Python execute this if condition. So if and else, so this number is positive, so this negative doesn't get executed. So I get executed all this kind of whatever the code I have inside this if conditions, which is inside another if. So here I am having again one more print message which I am printing here, which is this one, and then this is again checking the number. If it's a more than 10,000, then it is getting printing this one, otherwise it's printing this one, because we have only 12, so that is printing this one. If I just give it like maybe 12,000, you see it's a, if number is positive, so this is getting executed, and here it is getting executed. It's a big positive even number because this number is more than what, more than 12,000, okay. So this is how we use nested if conditions. Now you can add more nested if logic. It is advised to keep it as less as if nested if logic, because it get really confusing, okay. So it is better to avoid like using nested if conditions, okay. Let's say our next topic, which is going to be ternary operator, and let's see what is a ternary operator. So ternary operator is very simple. When you have a very small if statement, you want to execute it in one line of code, that's where you use a ternary operator. So I have an example here. So the code is going to be something like this, okay. Whatever you want to show, if the value is true, you put it here, then you put if, okay, and then you put your condition, and then you put else, and then you put your value, whatever the value you want to show, as a false, okay. So let me give you an example, okay. So let's talk about maybe the salary, okay. So we will go ahead and say salary is maybe 55,000, and what I want is that I would just go ahead and say, so this start with something like this, okay. Your print message, you put it here, if value is true, okay, and then you give your if, and then you give your conditions. What is conditions? I would say salary is greater than, let's say, 50,000, okay. So if the salary is greater than 50,000, this is going to be printed here. Now it is opposite, you don't have to give inside, you don't have to give colon here. Then you just write something called else, and you put your conditions, which is called print message if the value is false, okay. So if the value is false, now okay, we can check it. It's going to say value is true, so this side is getting printed. So this side, whatever you want to print, you can put it here. So I can go ahead and say that something called salary is more than 50,000, 50k, okay. Salary is more than 50k because I have defined it as a 55,000, and here I'm going to say, okay, my salary is very less, it's not even 50k. I mean, you can just give any message, okay. So here it is getting executed because salary I have kept as a 55,000. If I just give it like 15,000, okay, so salary is I mean, so I'm giving it's 15,000, so I just need to have 30. You see, my salary is very less, it's not even 50,000. Sometimes it's very useful, one line of code, and you are kind of using this if else statement. When you have a small if else statement, you can use, this is called shorthand if conditions. So you can use this shorthand if conditions when you have a small if else conditions, okay. So this is what it does, very simple. Value is true, the whatever you have before this if, that is getting executed. You give if and condition in the middle, and then you give else, and then at the end you write your else statement, okay. We can see one more example. So I'm just going to say something called, and I'm going to say iPhone equals 999. Okay, this is the price, and I would say if, okay, this iPhone price is maybe more than 10,000, okay, more than 1,000, then I give else conditions, right, as it is. And here whatever I want to print in else condition, I give it here. So I can go ahead and say print new iPhone is very expensive. Okay, here I would give the if statement. So what I want to print, I would say print, I would just go ahead and say this year iPhone is price is greater than 10,000. I would say this year iPhone is so expensive, it's more than 1k. Okay, here I would not give the else, so I can go and send it's very less expensive. Okay, very less expensive. Okay, so now I have this if condition in the middle. If this iPhone is greater than 1,000, then this is going to be executed. Otherwise this is going to be executed, which is new iPhone is a less expensive. Okay, we can just is less expensive. Let's say 1299. Okay, let's check. You see, this year iPhone is less expensive. This year iPhone is so expensive, it's more than 1k, because this is getting executed. So simple if and else. So you have if conditions in the middle, you have this statement that you print, that is here, and you have else statement, and then this else condition, that is here. Okay, so that is it about the ternary, that is it about the ternary operators in Python, and which we call shorthand if conditions. Now let's see the project, and I have included 10 plus interview questions. Now let's see the mini project of the day. So whatever we have learned today, we will be applying all this in the today's project. So let's see. So first project, which is write a Python program to check if the number is odd or even. Now we have already checked this right in the earlier. Now you can solve this one by yourself. And let's see the second question, which is says shopping cart discount system. So it says ask user to provide the product name, ask the price and the quantity, check if the total is more than a certain threshold, offer X amount of discount in the total cart, and print the discounted amount, net amount, and the total amount need to be paid. Okay, so we are going to solve this one, which is the second problems. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a function. So let me save everything and let's go to file, and let's go ahead and say that new file what I want, and I'm going to say app.py. Let's run it. Let's add a dog string where I'm going to add this kind of line of code, and what I want is, okay, so shopping discount system. Okay, this is the name, and ask user the product name. We'll be asking the user product name. Ask the price. Okay, we'll be asking the price, and we will ask the quantity as well, like how many quantity they are buying, and if the total is more than the certain amount. Okay, so if the total is more than certain amount, so we can just define this threshold as maybe it's 1,000. Okay, if this more than 1,000, offer X amount of the total cart discounts. Okay, so offer X amount of discount, so offer X amount of the total cart discount. Okay, discount. So let's say the discount amount is going to be 25%. Okay, so 25% discount we will provide if they have the card which is more than 1,000. Okay, if their card is like, let's say, more than $500, then we will be providing discount of, let's say, 15%. Okay, and for 1,000 we will be providing discount of what, 25%. Okay, so these are the two things we will check. Again, you can add more and more conditions here. So let's say if it's like for 1,000 we will offer 25% discount. If it's 500 we will offer 15% discount. Let's add one more argument to make it little interesting. So if, let's say, if they have not like more than 1,000 or not more than 500, but they have something like quantity which is more than, let's say, 3 quantity. If the quantity is more than 3, then also I want to offer some discount, but only 5% discount. Okay, So all this logic we're going to build, we're going to apply in our function that we will build, and let's see if it's working. Okay, so let's start one by one. Okay, so we're going to simply use the if else statement here. So let's first start with the taking the input from the user. So whatever we need, let's write down. So let's say collecting inputs, right? So what we need, so we need the product name. Okay, so we're going to say input, and from the users we're going to ask please enter product name. Okay, so user is going to enter the product name. So we can collect in different kind of input, or we can collect in one input. So I'm going to collect everything in one input. So I would say please the enter the details. So what I want is separator separating by comma. Okay, so in this format what I want, in this format what I want is the product name I want. Okay, then I want the price. Okay, then I want quantity. Okay, and then I want what else, product name, price, quantity. I think these are the only three things we want to ask from the users, right? So then we can kind of do our other things. Okay, so for that I would just go ahead and say start this. Okay, so whatever the variable user is going to enter, I'm going to store that something called product details. Okay, so here I will be using strip functions to remove all this space before and after, which is the trailing and leading space. Okay, and I am going to split based on this comma. Okay, so all these things I have covered in the day 1 and day 2 and day 3, so make sure to check those video out as well so that you will learn it. So I'm collecting this list of informations, product name, price, quantity, and based on this comma I am separating them, and then this data is going to automatically convert into this into list, and that is going to store in this product details. Okay, so the product details is fine. Next what I need is that, see, whenever you collect a data from the users, so the data are always captured in as a string. Okay, so we need to convert those informations, like we have here price and we have here quantity. Okay, so these two data types I'm going to convert into int. Okay, so for that I would just go ahead and say that data cleaning. Okay, so what I will do is that I will try to access this product of the first element, which is going to be the second element that's like 0 and 1, so that's going to be product of 1. Okay, so this product of 1 I am going to convert to int. Okay, so for that I would just need to say here int, and inside it I would just put this product details of 1. Okay, so this is done. I will just need to save this inside this product. So where I want to save is that inside this product details of this, which is called 1. Okay, so it is going to replace the data types of product details 1, which is means this price data types, to int. Okay, so this is converting that product details. Same way I want to convert what, same way I want to convert that quantity as well to int. Okay, so that I can do calculations. So the quantity is going to be the last argument, which is going to be quantity. So I can use a -1 here, or I can use 2. So that's going to be -1. Okay, so here I'm converting what, I'm converting quantity data types to int. Okay, and here I'm converting what, that price data types to int. Okay, so these two things are done. Now next what I want is that I want to do the simple calculations, right? And I'm going to use call Tuple value. Inside this Tuple value I'm going to do the calculation. So what is my calculations? I want to do this product details, which is called whatever the product kind of price. So that is going to be what, that is going to be this, which is called price, and multiply with what, which is going to be this quantity. Okay, this is my quantity. Okay, so I have this price and quantity. So to make it easy, I can even store this in a quantity variable. Okay, so that's I think going to be more easy for me. So what I will do is that I will go ahead and say that this one is my price, so I would say price. Okay, and this one is my quantity, so I would say quantity. Okay, so price and quantity I got it, and here I'm going to do the calculations, which is going to be price, okay, times quantity, right? So here I'm just checking the total, right, total card value. So total card value. Okay, so this is going to check the total card value, so that is going to store this total card value here. Okay, that's fine. So everything that I need is now ready. Now I can go ahead and kind of build my logic. So what logic I want is this three logic. Okay, now everything that we need are ready, so let's go ahead and build our functions using this if statement. Okay, so what I will go ahead and say, I will just use a if statement. So first thing we need to check if this amount, this total amount is greater than 1000. Okay, so we will go ahead and say if this total value is greater than what, if this total value is greater than 1000. Okay, this is my first if conditions, and I would want to execute something, right? What I want to execute is that I am going to use that this total value, okay, minus equals. Okay, minus equals is going to do what? So whatever the value I have in this total value is going to minus whatever I'm going to add here. Okay, whatever I'm going to enter here, that value is going to be minus. If you're not sure what is going on this minus operator, so make sure to go through the video 2 where I have covered all this arithmetic assignment operator in Python in details. Okay, so for now I'm just going to explain it again. So here if I just give 300, okay, let's say in the total value I have like 1200. Okay, let's say in the total value, I have 1200. Okay, 1200, and if I just say minus equals, so it is going to do minus this 200 from this total value, and then I'm saying equals, then it is going to store the data in this total value. So total value was 1200 minus 200, so it's going to left with 1000, which is going to store in the total value. So the total value's data is going to be updated to 1000 by just doing this minus 1200. So the way you understand is this way. So total value minus this 200, and then whatever is left out, okay, that data is stored in this total value. That's the reason we will say minus equals. Okay, so that is fine. Now here I would want to add the discount amount. Okay, so how do I check the discount? So let's say this total value, the way we check the discount is very simple. This way, total value times and the discount using this 0.25. So this is going to check our the total discount. Let's say if I give an example, you see here I have 1200. Okay, so 1200, and if I just add 0.25 discount, 0.25% discount, which is 25% discount, you see the discount amount is 30%. Now if I add a 50% discount, so I would say it's a 600, right? So that is correct. So this is what we will do. So here this total amount, whatever the total amount we had in this total card, so that total value times this percentage. Okay, so that is going to give us what, the discount amount, and we are minusing it from the total value and storing back on this total value. Okay, all these things are happening only the total amount, if the total amount is more than 1000, which is our the first conditions. Okay, now this is done, right? We want to also display some message at the end, right? So we will go ahead and say print, and here we will write our all the display whatever we want to display. So I can go ahead and say that thank you, okay, for providing the details. Okay, so this is a text message. I'm just going to store inside double quotes, and I want to display what? So I want to display the product name. That's the first thing. So I would go ahead and display the product name. Okay, here, so your product name. So this is going to give the product name, and I can use a new line here as well. Okay, so this is going to give the new line here. I would just use the product name, card info, and next line I will start with the next line. So this backslash n is going to put whatever I will be entering here, it's going to be in the next line. So we will add the product name here. Okay, that's fine. Next, what I want is in the next line I would be looking for the product quantity, so that's going to be inside one more placeholder. So here I would show the product price. Okay, so in the next line I would just go ahead and say that here I am going to show that what is the quantity. Okay, and next line I'm going to give the total calculations. Okay, so I would show again next line, and what I want to show the net value, which is going to be this total value. Okay, so we will go ahead and display this total value, total. So we will go ahead and say here again, here total card amount. Okay, and what I want here is that the total card amount to show here. Once the total card is done, next I want to show the discount amount as well. So I would go ahead and say again one more line, so next line, and I would want to show the discount amount. So I would go ahead and say discount amount, short form discount amount. Here I want to display the discount amount. Okay, so that is fine. Now what else we want? Then we want the net cart amount, right? The net total amount. Okay, so for that we will go ahead and say the net total amount is going to be something like this. Okay, so then we want the final amount. Okay, so for that I am just going to say here next line, one more next line, and I would say net amount, net pay. Okay, net pay. So in here I want to display the net amount. Now let's put value into all this, kind of placeholders. Okay, so I'm just going to use F here because I'm using F formatting here. Okay, so let's put one by one value. Okay, so first what I want is that, let's check. Okay, first thank you for providing the info, Mr. whatever the name. Okay, so here I want, what is that, the product name. Okay, the first I want to show the product name. So the product name is going to be that my, which is product info variables. Okay, product info variables of 0. Okay, so the first argument of this product info variable is the product name. Okay, so product name is fine. I can just give maybe product name. Okay, nice way of putting this way, and that is fine. So in the next line, before that I would just put the next line here. Okay, product name. So that's fine. Next what I want here is that the quantity. Okay, so the price. So price, again we don't want to show the price, so let's keep it simple. Let's kind of delete the price from here. Here we want to show the quantity, but in the next line. So in the next line I would say quantity, and I want to put the quantity here. So the quantity is going to be this. I can just display this, right? So this is my quantity variable, and then next line here I want to show the total card, which is before discount. Okay, now one thing to note here is that, see, the total card is now updated, so it's going to give the updated discount, updated amount after the discount. So I want the amount which is before the discount. Okay, so for that what I can do is that I can do one more calculations here. Okay, and here I can say the total value before discount. Okay, so I can use a short form called TV before discount. Okay, let's say this is my variable num, so this one I'm going to use it here. Okay, so total card amount, this is a before discount, and next what I want, next here I want the discount amount. Okay, so for the discount amount we can do this way. Okay, to make it simple, so we will need to print this, right? So this is going to be our discount amount, so this is going to be our discount amount. So for that again we will need to use, which is called this. Okay, let's put it a short name called T. Okay, so let's say the short name is T, and the discount amount is going to be T times what, the total amount times this discount amount, right? See, I cannot use this total value because the total value is now updated. I want to show only the discount amount, so that's going to be here what, this total value, which is going to be this, the total value before this discount, and this discount percentage, right? So that's going to be total values times discount percentage, that's 0.25. Okay, that fine. Now finally I would display the net pay. What is the amount they are going to pay? Okay, so what is the amount they are going to pay is this total value, that is they are going to pay. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, now this is fine. Okay, so this is only going to execute only if the price is more than 1000, correct? So that is fine. Now what if in case we have the second condition, which is the price is more than kind of 500 and the quantity is more than 3? So we need to kind of build for all those, but for, let's force execute this and let's see if this our function is working. Okay, so let's go ahead and right click, run in terminal. It's asking the product name, price and quantity. Let's enter the product name, price and quantity. Okay, so I would say product name is let's say pizza. The price is let's say $29. Okay, and let's say the quantity I want 50. Okay, let's see the result. Okay, it says thank you for providing the details, your card informations. So the product name we have pizza, the quantity we have 50, so total cart amount which is 1450, discount amount you can see 13625, and the net pay which is the customer need to pay 1087.5, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so that means our function is working. So let's go ahead and build rest of the logic. So second what I want is that that's going to be this one, which is called if it is kind of 500. Okay, let's say if it is not 1000, if it's a 500, so that's going to be what, that's going to be my second condition. So we have three conditions. This is first condition, this is second condition, we have third condition. So I'm going to use elif here. Okay, if I use else, that's going to be the last condition, but I'm going to use elif here. Okay, so for that what I would say is that, let's go to the next line. Okay, so elif is in the same indentation, so it has to be in, you know, with the same indentation, which is if and elif. So because elif is my second if conditions, so I would say elif here. I would say that the total value is here I would say total value is greater than 500. Okay, if it's greater than 500, then what I want, everything remains same, I would just change the percentage. Okay, so everything remains same. Here I simply change this percentage to 15%. Okay, because here customer wants 15%, I mean we want to give 15% discount. Okay, that's fine. Now I would add my last conditions. Okay, that's going to be else. Again, that's not going to be else because we may have the customer who has not even has fulfilled any of these conditions. So let's say one more elif conditions. Okay, so this time I'm just going to say one more elif conditions. Okay, here we will be checking for the quantity. So instead of checking for the total cart value, we will check this quantity, and we will say this quantity is greater than what, 3. Okay, if the quantity is greater than 3, then we are going to only provide 5% discount. Okay, so everything remains same. Let's do some formatting here. Okay, let's do some formatting here. So say thank you for providing the details for your card. Okay, so let's just say thank you for providing details for your card, and let's do some proper formatting. The product name, we would show the product name here, and the quantity, we would show the quantity here. So quantity I want to show something like with this hash sign, this way it looks cool. Okay, next what I want is this quantity Q capital. Okay, quantity, and the total cart, again let's delete this space, total cart amount. Now here I get the total cart amount, I want to show the dollar sign here, dollar before it, so that means it's a $5. Okay, and this is the total amount before discount, so that this discount amount also here I want to show a dollar sign. Okay, and that's the discount amount, and this net pay here also I want to use a dollar sign. Okay, to make it little standard. Okay, so net pay fine, discount amount fine, total amount fine. So same way I would just replace this one by one. Okay, so product details, everything is fine, quantity Q capital, here I would use a hash sign. Okay, total cart, till this space, and here's a dollar sign, use a dollar sign here, and want to use a dollar sign here. Okay, and here also same thing. So I find, so product name, quantity I want to show Q capital, here I want to use a dollar sign. Okay, not dollar sign, hash sign, here I want to use a dollar sign, here I want to use a dollar sign, here I want to use a dollar sign. So all this statement is done. So I'm saying if my total value is more than 1000, I'm giving 25% discount, showing the cart quantity and the discount amount and the net pay which customer has to pay. And if it is less than greater than 500, then this code is going to execute. If it is the quantity is more than 3, this code is going to execute. Okay, now here you need to understand, if it is more than 1000, this quantity is not going to execute even if the quantity is 20. The reason is that the first condition is true. So it is on you how you enter it. If you want to enter it this way, you can enter it this way, because the customer is going to get 5% only discount even the customer bought like 20,000 product, right? But I feel this is the correct way, because here we will first check the amount. If the amount is not meeting, then we will check the quantity, because here the customer is getting less discount. Okay, so you need to build the logic properly. Now if nothing is true, then we want to display else logic. So in the else, we will simply go ahead and say that simply else, and we will simply display this kind of message. Okay, and we're going to say thank you for providing the details, your card info below, and the quantity is this, and the total card amount is this. Discount amount, unfortunately this customer doesn't meet any discount, so we're going to say discount amount is 0. Okay, so discount amount we want 0 here. Okay, and here I just need to update, it's kind of 25, then it's going to be 15%, and here it is going to be 5%. Okay, so looks everything is fine. Let's go ahead and test it, right? All right, so discount amount is 0. Okay, here let's check it, right? So let's go ahead and right click, run in terminal, and it says enter the details separating by comma. We first need the product, so I am going to enter a product called burger. Okay, give a comma, and the price I would just enter 299. Okay, too much, but yeah, that's it, comma, and how many quantity I want maybe at the moment 6 quantity. Okay, let's see. Okay, you can see here it's saying that thank you for providing the details of your card. Product name burger, quantity 6, total card amount which is this one $1,794, discount amount you can see 448, and there's a dollar sign as well, which kind of make it little interesting. Okay, we have the net pay which is 1,345 after this discount. Okay, even if you want to show the discount percentage you can show it, but again I think that's kind of fine. So let's clear it and let's test it again. Okay, now I'm going to test it again some more with some more other examples. Okay, to check if our function is working. Okay, so let's to execute the file. I have the file in my home directory which is called app.py, and for that if I just want to check my home directory, I can simply go ahead and say pwd. You see I am in my home directory which is this one. If I say ls, it's going to give me all the files I have in my home directory. So I have day1, day2, day3, something called app.py. So I would just execute this app.py. So I need to write something called, let me just make it a little bigger. So I need to write something called python app.py, because this is my file name. You just need to write python and your file name with this, the file extensions. Okay, press enter. You see it's saying please enter the details separating by comma, product name, price and quantity. This is what it is looking for. So I would just go ahead and enter the product name, call this time maybe something called something, this time maybe something else. So I would just go ahead and say maybe pizza. Okay, comma, and I want the price to be 499. Okay, and I want the quantity only 2. Okay, so let's see. So I can see our function is returning pizza and the quantity is a 2, and the total card amount is, which is called only this. So discount amount is this, and that means 848 customer is paying. So here one thing is something is not working fine, because you can see here even the price was less than $100, but still customer is getting this in discount, and customer is only paying which is 848. Okay, so that means this is what we need to fix. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what is going wrong in our functions. Okay, so here customer is still getting discount. Okay, even the quantity was this, the price was not greater than 1000. Okay, let's kind of see where it is doing this calculations, the discount calculations. Okay, so let's go ahead and see here. So customer is falling in this category. Okay, here I'm checking this total value, and total value times which is 0.25. yes, and in the total amount I'm multiplying with this. Okay, kind of find quantity is fine. Let's see how much customer is getting discount. Okay, so customer is getting I think correct discount, because it is 15% of this 998. So if you check 9988 times 0.15, right, so it's 149. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, so our function is working fine. So again, sometimes you just need to cross verify. Okay, so here is working fine. Let's check with something else where now we will add a less price product but the quantity is more. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that again, same thing, which is called run python app, and provide a product name. This time I'm going to say call again maybe burger. Okay, comma, the price this time I'm going to add call $29, and the quantity I'm going to enter this time only call 6 quantity. Okay, so because it's less than 500. Even 29 into 6, if you multiply, you can check. So here you can see I'm getting my product name, which is burger, quantity which is 6, total cart amount which is $174, discount which is, you can see it here. Okay, very very interesting. So discount is $87 and the customer is paying $87. Okay, so something again not going right here, because for 174 the customer is paying $87. I mean, discount is $87 and customer is paying $87, so something is not going right with this quantity. Okay, so here we will need to check, because this is more than, I think, that percentage. So let's go ahead and check. Okay, so here I'm doing the mistake. See, when I'm offering 5% and I'm mentioning here 0.5, so this is considering as a 50%. Okay, so we need to change it to 0.5, because that's the 5%, right? If you just put .5, it's 50%. So let's save it and let's go ahead and execute it again, the same thing. Okay, f.py, I am saying it's burger, I'm saying price is $29, I'm saying what I need is a 6 quantity. Now you can see it here. Okay, 174 is the total cart amount and the product name is burger, quantity is 6, discount is $87. Again, discount is showing $87, which is here, but it is not applying $87. You can see it here. So one more mistake in the print statement, we need to fix that, and that is here. Okay, so here we have again mentioned this, so this one is going to be 0.5. let's save it and let's kind of come back and execute it again. Okay, so for that I'm just going to execute it again. So it's a burger, $29, 6 quantity. Okay, all right, so you can see it here. This time it is giving perfect results. So it says $174 is the card amount and the discount is showing 8.7 only dollars, and minusing 8.7 we are paying 165. Okay, so you have seen all the way we have tested. Now let's kind of see one more where I will give the amount which is not the quantity to, or not the price, which is 500, less than 500. Let's see. So f.py, product name is this time again maybe pizza. Okay, and I want the price is only kind of, let's say $49, quantity is 2. Okay, let's see it. All right, so now you can see it here. We are buying pizza and quantity 2. Okay, the total card amount is only $98. So discount amount is showing $0. Okay, and net pay is showing $98, which is customer has to pay. Okay, so this is how we have tested our functions all the possible way. Thank you so much for watching the video till here, and if you have really enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share your thought in the comment box. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not subscribed yet. And now these are some exercises which you are going to solve by yourself to learn whatever you have learned today. You can apply those, you can solve all these exercise problems which I have added here. Let me show you. Okay, let's just say that, hide this terminal for now. So these are 10 exercises which you are going to solve. Okay, let's see the exercise. It says odd even check voting eligibility. Okay, some simple if else logic, number classifications, negative, positive, grade classifications. All the explanations also I have added. Just copy paste it and into your Jupyter notebook. Try to solve this problem. If you are stuck with any of the questions, do let me know in the comment box. I will maybe include in the next sessions. That's it for the day. Thank you so much. Have a good one.